Welcome to this tutorial where we are going to demonstrate how to install MiVoice Business on an SMB controller. We begin by powering up our SMB controller and letting it boot. When it is done booting, we are going to connect to the IP address that it would have found through DHCP, or we can press the control button 5 times so that we go into the default IP address of 192.168.104.13. But in my case, my controller was connected to a DHCP and it got the IP address 192.168.2, and we are going to go to port 8443. Once we get to that port 8443, we are going to log in with the default username and password, which is admin for username and also admin for password. So let us go ahead and do that. Now that we have logged in, we get to this landing page where it's asking us to change the password from the default of username admin and password admin. We'll go ahead and change and put to our preferred new password for both admin user and the root user. Once we do that, we apply. We are also going to select the call server as MiVoice Business, and we are also going to choose the time zone that applies to us. In your case, you know what applies to you, then you are going to select that time zone for your controller and enable SSH access. After we apply those changes, we wait for the controller to respond. In our case, our MSO software is being downloaded and was sitting on my laptop. It is a local file, so it's just a matter of browsing to the local file and selecting it. I could have chosen to use the internet and download from the Mitel download center by selecting firmware server, and then we'll be pulling it directly from the cloud, from the Mitel download server onto the controller. Depending on the network speed, that might take too long, so in this case I have chosen to use a file that is directly sitting on my laptop. So we are continuing with installing MSL container. I just call it the container, but the Mitel standard Linux that we are installing on the SMBC controller. After we are done with installing the MSL, then we are going to install MiVoice Business inside the MSL. So the SMBC is kind of our container. Inside the container we got another container, which is the Mitel standard Linux, and inside the Mitel standard Linux, the MSL is where we put our MiVoice Business inside. I'll just pause the video until the installation completes. So at this point, the installation appears to have completed installing. We must go and start the Mitel standard Linux. We go to drop down and we click on start. Let's go ahead and start the service for the MSL container. The status is starting. Let's wait for it to say started. Just a reminder of the IP address that we are connected to. It is 192.168.1.2, and that is currently the IP address of the SMBC, the controller, the container itself. This is the IP address that we are going to use to log on to the MSL. We are going to use the address of the SMBC container to log onto the MSL container once the service is started. We are going to do this by going to the IP address 192.168.1.2/server manager. Take note that we are not going to put a port. Initially we had to put port 8443, but after installing the MSL container we are going to log in with the same IP address but being /server manager. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do this by opening a new tab, just to demonstrate that we are going to a completely different page. We are not closing the port 8443 page, but we are going to go to a new page which has server manager. And our password is our username is admin, and the password is the password that we changed when we first logged on to the SMBC controller with port 8443. It is the same password that we are using on the server manager. Okay, now that we have logged on to the server manager, we can see there are some warnings there. We need to assign an IP address, and we need to enable SSH. So the IP address that we are going to assign here, it is what is going to be eventually the IP address for the MSL as well as MiVoice Business. That IP address is going to be shared between the MSL and the MiVoice Business. So when we install MiVoice Business, it's going to go and inherit the IP address that we are going to assign now. So that IP address, we are going to use it to access the MiVoice Business server manager side of MiVoice Business, as well as the MiVoice Business ESM which are also called the system administration tool. So let's go ahead and do that. Remember, we are on IP address 192.168.1.2. so let's just change our host name there and put the IP address for what's going to be the IP address of the MiVoice Business, which is 192.168.1.3. and of course our confirmation of our default gateway. You can also go ahead and read what I am writing in the notepad there as notes to also follow along. So we have assigned 192.168.1.3. This is going to be our IP address for MiVoice Business, which is sitting inside the MSL container. And the MSL container is going to be also the same IP address, 192.168.1.3. But note that the SMBC controller will remain with an IP address 192.168.1.2, which we will then access with port 8443 whenever we want to access it. But once we enable MiVoice Business and we've installed it and it starts running, we will not be able to open 192.168.1.2 server manager. It will not be available for us anymore. So now we have come to the point where we must save our configuration and let the system restart. So we do that by clicking on Save and Restart. Let's do that right now. There we go. And the system responds. So the system has gone down for a reboot. Let's give it a moment to finish booting. Okay, the system has finished booting, but the service has yet to come up. Let's wait for the services to come up. We are now going to log in with the IP address that we allocated, which is no longer 192.168.1.2, but this time around we are going to log in with 192.168.1.3 server manager. So we are going to open another tab to just demonstrate that we are moving away from the tab of 192.168.1.2, which is no longer available for us. You can see it's saying unable to connect to that IP address. Now we are going to go to the IP address that we assigned. So take note that this is the third tab. The third tab is connected to the SMBC controller itself on port 8443 with the IP address which ends with a 2. The tab in the middle was connecting to the SMBC controller again, but with server manager, and with the IP address that ends with the .2, where we assigned .3, and now we are using .3 server manager on the third tab. Very, very important. And this is now where we are going to license the MSL, because you can see now we are in the MSL. We are going to license the MSL. That is the first thing that we are going to do. We are going to also enable SSH, and then we are also going to install the MiVoice Business Blade. Let's go ahead and enable SSH. It is also a required step. So in my case, I am going to enable SSH for the entire internet, but in your case, depending on your security consciousness, you might want to enable it for specific subnets. But in my case, because I am on the lane and I'm protected by the file, I'm not worried about saying the entire internet, because I know the entire internet is not going to reach me anyway. So that is the confirmation that we were successful in enabling SSH. And we just confirm our IP settings are still the same IP settings that we set before. We are not going to change anything there. We are just going to leave them like that. This is just to confirm that we are still on .3. Now we are going to license the MSL by going to status. So we enter our service link account ID, which is the application record ID, and we synchronize with the Mitel license server, which is the SLS, which was formerly known as the AMC, and we wait for the confirmation of the licenses. It is very important that the licenses are there, because that is what allows us to install MiVoice Business. If MiVoice Business, if the Mitel standard Linux, the MSL is not licensed for MiVoice Business, it's not going to be able to install it. So there we have successfully managed to license it, and we can see MiVoice Business is listed on the as one of the features that we have licensed it for. Then we go on to Blades. We update the list. We update the list. Then the list is updated. We are going to look for MiVoice Business. We are going to scroll down to look for MiVoice Business Blade for SMBC. So we are going to click on cache instead of just clicking on install straight away, because if we click on install straight away, it's going to download and then it's trying to install at the same time. If there is a failure in downloading, it means we'll start again to install, but when we cache it, it means it's going into a cache. If there's a challenge with the downloading the software, we will still continue caching it until our cache has the full file downloaded, so that we can just install from cache. We are still caching. We are about to complete caching. The caching is completed now. The caching is completed. We are going to clear this report. Yes, now when we check our list, we are going to go to the MiVoice Business for SMBC again, and then we are going to click on install. We are going to accept licenses. Then the installation begins. We are just going to sit and wait until the installation completes. The installation is in progress. Let us continue to wait. The installation is completed, so we'll go ahead and clear the report. And we'll check the list again. It is now showing that MiVoice Business for SMB is installed. So we are going to log into the server manager for the MiVoice Business, which is 192.168.3. And we also change the password. We go through everything. You should be aware of that. And this is MiVoice Business that we have just installed. Okay, let's take a step back for us to be on the same page. So we have finished installing MiVoice Business, and the system has reboot. After the system finished rebooting, we have now opened our web page to a fourth tab. If we check, you'll see there's tab number 1 on the left, there's tab number 2, there's tab number 3, and there's tab number 4. Tab number 1 is 192.168.2 port 8443, which connects us to the SMBC Controller container. And so tab number 2 was going to the server manager, but using the IP address of the SMBC Controller, which was 192.168.1.2/server manager. We went there and we assigned an IP address of 192.168.1.3, and then we reboot, and then that web page is not available for us anymore. So we opened a third tab where we then use the IP address that we assigned, which is 192.168.1.3/server manager. When we logged in there, we then enabled SSH, and then we licensed the controller, and we just verified that our IP address is 1.3. Then that's when we, after licensing, we updated the blade lists, and then we installed MiVoice Business, and then the system reboot, and now we are using 192.168.1.3 onto a fourth tab without the server manager, just the IP address as it is. Then it has taken us into MiVoice Business, where we are going to do the initial login with our username being system, and our password, big password, and then we'll be prompted to change the password to a different password. This is where we are now. We are changing the password to a new password for MiVoice Business. Then we submit. Then there's the confirmation the password was changed, and there is our system administration tool. We go into the system administration tool, and this is our MiVoice Business. As you can see, there's a message that we must restart our MiVoice Business system. We must restart it, so we are going to restart it from the maintenance command line. We input the command reset system, and we confirm that we want to reboot the system, and then we wait. The system admin tools are starting up. Let us continue to wait. The system tools are done starting, and now we have managed to log back into the system. We have successfully managed to install MiVoice Business on SMBC Controller via the MSO. I hope this has been informative for you. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.